Hello, folks, and welcome to the Relationship Builders Customize Your Love Life series. You are here with Joy, your love and dating strategist, advocate, and strategist for women, for people in general. But I'm also here with my husband, Bobby, today. And every once in a while we pop up so you guys can see us live and see what we're up to. Anyway, so Bobby's a crazy man, like I always say. But today we wanted to talk about, where does a woman's rights what does a woman's right begin and a man's right begin and end? So I guess one of the topics I was talking about in a group the other day on social media was really about when a woman gets pregnant and she gets pregnant, let's say she doesn't want the child, but that man wants the baby. Who has a right to decide whether that child is going to be born and kept or not, right? Mm-hmm. We know that it's the woman.
Yeah, generally. Right? Generally in society, life, whenever there's a situation that involves abortion, right, the first and the last opinion pretty much and decision is on the woman, not the man. Mm-hmm. So we already have that down pat. But there's another point that you want to add to that.
I guess, my thought is this, where does a man's rights begin? We're in a society today where women are hugely empowered. And this is my thing, and I'm going to speak my truth, is that I think that if women are so empowered, if we're so empowered as women, we're given so many rights, how is that we're still taking away a lot of rights from men and we're blaming men for a lot of things, right? I truly believe that men need to have just as much say so, but I understand when it comes to a child or childbearing, it's the woman's body. But that man helped her to make the baby. My thing is this: I believe that when any of us are, we're lying down, don't we have to think about any possibility, right? Why is it only on that woman to make that decision, right? And Bobby, from that male perspective, you have someone who's pregnant with your child, and then they don't want to have the baby, but you want to have that baby. You know that you don't have a right to that. You do understand that.
Yeah, I think every man out there understands that. It's set up a way where, in that regard, we're not considered, right? Because if we are not carrying the kid, then what right do we have to speak as far as society is concerned, right? And what if now we decide, like the man decide, I don't want to have the kids, and the woman decides she wants to have it? What's going to happen? She's going to have that kid, and then you know what? We have to pay child support. Because unless you want to be a deadbeat guy who don't take care of your kids, it sucks that you don't have any decision, you don't make any decision one way or the other, but whichever the outcome, you still have to deal with it anyway. And to me, that's not right. But, like they said, we're not carrying the baby, so we don't have a leg to stand on.
But you see, what I'd love to see to change in society is that men and women's rights are much more equal. And I know a lot of women give me a hard time because they think as a woman, how can I not side with them? Because I think that everybody loses when we take sides, right? I think that we're supposed to be in it for the good of the whole. And I think that for the most part, it's not that way. That we as women are, who they say, who runs the world, right? Girls, right? And what's happening as a result of that. I really believe that if we're going to do it for the good of both parties, then we have to find some way where women are taking just as much responsibility as a man. I know a lot of the times that raising of the children is left to that woman. When she chooses to have that child, she's the one who's left with it. But I think that we all need to go into it thinking we all made a choice. When we lie down in that moment, we made a choice to say, this can happen. And if a child comes out of this, then how fair is that to the child that mom, that they're going to lose mom or dad, or they're not even going to be born into this world? How fair is that? How many men want to be fathers that are not allowed to be? Or how many men don't want to be fathers that are? And how many children suffer as a result of that man not wanting to be a father when both mom and dad, whether it was recreational because they were in love, whatever the reason, now are not together, and that child now suffers. It's always the kids that suffer, whether through abortion or mom not being or dad not being there or whatever, that child suffers. And I really think that is such an unfortunate thing. So I think that is just one example of the way that things need to be a little bit more balanced, that men and women, I believe, need to have equal rights. And I know that for a long time we said that men always ran the world. And I feel like, yeah, I agree with that. As a woman, I understand that. But, one thing I never felt was deprived. I never felt that as a woman I didn't have rights. Nobody could strip me of any right I had because I believe that that's not their right to give or take away from me, right? So ultimately that is up to us, right? I mean, as a man, I don't know, I guess, you guys have always had a lot of say so they say, but I believe that everybody is human and that we all have a choice in whatever scenario we're in, that the society does not dictate what you do in this relationship or what I do in this relationship. Is that correct?
But society is dictating what goes on in the relationship.
Not right? Between us. I mean, okay, go on. See what you're saying.
Listen, at the end of the day, what me and you have always talked about with a relationship is, it's what the two people decide. Mm-hmm. But in society, it's not about what the two people decide. It's what the woman decides. And now everything is dependent on what she decides, what she wants to do, what she thinks is right, and what she thinks is fair. Now, because of that, now there's a really negative fallout happening. That is that most men ain't gonna stand for that. You know what I mean? Because
then these days will, I believe.
Yeah, because a lot of guys are allowing society to make them become weak, and in the process, they just pretty much, like they say in business, what they do, they just pretty much, at the end of the day, just pretty much sell out part of who they are because they want to go along to get along, right? Mm-hmm. So when you end up outsourcing part of who you are to the woman, then what you think is left? You know what I mean? Most guys like a shell of a man. You know what I mean? You're not what you used to be. And when you buy into that behavior that, as a man and what society thinks is right, then you feel that a woman is always right and you're never right. And you have to go off of what you feel because society can't speak for you. It can't speak for no one. Because what society does, it builds this category and it fits everybody into that category. Mm-hmm. And what we have in right now is a lot of women are getting empowered, but they're getting empowered in such a negative way that they're thinking that you have to break a man down to be empowered. And when you as a woman think that you have to break a man down to be empowered, it makes you a lot weaker because that's why I'm making the point that, whether you see it like that or not, how is that playing off in your life? How is it benefiting you in your life? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You can make a lot of money and become successful at running a business, right? But then on the other end, you feel like as far as the relationship goes, you don't have to really do much. You just have to show up and let him run around and do everything. And you're always right and he's always wrong. Mm-hmm. And when you're coming off with that kind of ignorance, that think that, because you're a woman and it's the error of the woman that you're always right, then you find yourself in you find yourself being single. You know what I mean? Or you find yourself with guys that are really just passive and just take everything you throw at them. And nobody wants that. After a while, the yes, ma'am, it gets tiring. You know what I mean? You want like some energy. Like if you poke the bear, you want it to respond. And because we live in an era now where men are told to be weaker and be passive and don't go against a woman, just take everything she says she's always right, then you have a really dysfunction in how everything as far as men and women goes, and that the whole gender issue is getting way out of whack, where it's not about what both people think anymore. It's about what the woman thinks, and that's where it starts eventually, unfortunately now, and that's where it's ends. What she says supersedes everything, whether she's right or wrong.
Yeah, and I see a lot of that, and I think it's really sad. My problem with this is, of course, I have to support women becoming more empowered and going after the things they want and having the things that they want in life and taking hold of the direction that they want their lives to go in. Where I have a problem with things is that it's creating so much a divide. And as us who stands in for a relationship and are the relationship builders, that we of course support relationships. And when I see that all that's happening is that there's more of a breakdown, there's more of a divide, I can't buy into that. I really, a lot of times, maybe I don't want to speak out on it, you don't want to ruffle feathers, but at the same time, I'm being inauthentic to myself, right? I believe that a lot of the women who are here say, oh, I have great self-esteem and I this and this, but I can't find a man. Don't fool yourself, because if you want something and you can't have it, there is something that's going wrong. Don't believe that you're amazing, that you have no flaws, that he needs to be perfect and that you are. No, you need to be open to looking inside of yourself, because that's where the problem lies, that we are in a society that says we as women have it all down pat, and that men are the wrong ones. And I know that in myself, as I look in myself, you understand that it took two of us to build this. I mean, I've been with Bobby it's almost 14 years now. And as I look back, I may say, oh, you did this and you did that, and I blame him for a lot of things, but who stayed in the relationship and allowed those things to take place as well? I did. I can't put everything on him. And because it's important to me that my relationship work, I have to understand that I need to bear at least 50% of that burden and work on things to make them better. And we're here together every day because we work at it. Yes, do we go through ups and downs? If I said we didn't, I'd be lying. And even up to last night, we've had disagreements. But at the same time, after that, we come together, we have a conversation and see where are we at and why are we here and what could we do to change it. And yeah, it's been 14 years of up and down, but you know, the love, that's what, one thing I feel for sure in this relationship is the love and the comfort that he gives me. And I want that to continue. I know if I leave this relationship tomorrow, that I'm gonna have to go and I'm gonna have to start to build again. What am I out there searching for that I'm not getting here, right? We move on from one relationship to the next. And like we said in one of our other videos, when you're running from one relationship to the next, you're running from yourself, because ultimately whatever is coming before you is a result of who you are. So it's just being reflected back to you. And until you see that, and you know, for like I said, I've seen too many women, you make it appear as though it is them, they know it all, and that they are flawless, and that the men are the ones with the problems. But remember, we attract, right? And why are you attracting those kind of men that have ups and downs and that have issues? Because clearly they're reflecting you, right? And so you have to say, how can I work on this, or how can I find myself in a better space with someone who I can work with? Because the person you're looking for is not going to come perfect, right? You're going to have to work on that. As you know, Bobby shows me aspects of things that he'd like to change, and then I have to work on that. And the same with me towards him, is that I say, these are things that I would like to see different. And then we work on that. It's not easy, but if you want a fulfilling relationship, it's not going to come prepackaged and ready to go. Well, listen, it's not, right?
You know, like what you always say, you know what I mean? And it's true. Listen, it's like this. People deep down know what the issue are. They really do. They just don't pay attention to it.
Or they want to face it.
Right? Because, you know, at the end of the day, the only time we see ourselves is when we look in the mirror. After the time you go to the day, you're seeing everything else out there. And it's easy to point somebody else out. And a lot of people don't have a backbone. So they go with what's trending, right? Yeah. And those people to me it's pitiful, because you have no identity whatsoever. You are just a shell of a person, and you wait for something is trending and you jump on it. For the person who's been straightened, then all of a sudden it's okay to begin, they jump on that bandwagon too. You know, for the woman who's never about anything, and then here comes the woman's movement or whatever, and she jumps on that too and go with everything they're saying. When you're a shell of a person and you don't stand for anything, society can drag and pull you whichever way. The most important thing is when you're a person that's grounded, right, and you more focus on yourself, you are a person that will attract people that are really at the level that which you are, right? And it doesn't matter too, like for the people you don't even not even like that. Because if you understand this, like I said to you a while ago, a rich man will never be a friend with a broke man, right? And there's a reason why I said that, because where are we in life? Can we have the same conversation, or we're at the same level, or are we just so far off? And when you're so far off from somebody, you and them can't connect, right? And what we live in an era and a time is where we are more taught to blame and put the spotlight on everybody else.
And never look at ourselves.
Never look at ourselves.
It's never about us. Yeah. I do it. I still do it.
I am not wrong. I am not wrong. I can never be wrong. You know what I mean? And society is telling me I should be me, and people should accept me for who I am.
Absolutely.
You know, garbage. You know what I mean? Nobody don't have to accept Jack. That's why there's so much single people, because a lot of people are not willing to accept. So don't fool yourself in thinking that because you're fat, you know, people should have accepted because you're fat. No, you're single, so nobody's accepting you. So that's a lie anyway. So if you wake up to realize that, you know, people don't have to accept nothing unless you're on the same level that they're on, and you visually are what they're looking for, then they will try and work with it. But even after a while, if you're still a certain way, they're gonna move on anyway. So it's not about what people should accept you for who you are, because, you know, I mean, there's no rules or no law that says people have to accept you, right? So the bottom line is this. It's easy to lay blame. And right now we're in a blaming society right now. Yes. It's just a blame. And like I said, a lot of these blame are from woman onto man. And men are not doing this, but we're talking about in general what we're seeing in society. We know it's both ways. Right? We know it's both ways. Come on, me and you, we know that. That's no, that, you know what I mean? But what I'm saying is what we're seeing on a general scale, right? On a general scale, there's a lot of angry, bitter women, and most of them are angry, bitter towards men. And what I'm saying is, because those men didn't run their lives from the beginning. I don't get that personally, maybe because I don't face the same issues. Exactly, but what I said, it goes right back to the blame. That's what it is. You're telling them that you guys are right, they are wrong. So when you say that they're right and you are wrong, or vice versa, you're going to look at who they say is wrong. And if it's on your side where they say you're not wrong, they're wrong, then you're going to start to focus on that, right? Because, okay, look at this. A woman who's in a relationship for God don't know how many years, right? The relationship comes to, you know, runs into the doghouse and then things are wrapped. And then she sits and she talk about to her friends. And what she's going to tell is all the cheating, he's never there for me, he didn't love me, he just used me.
I would say
he
that.
just did all that to me,
yeah.
and he wasn't very, basically he wasn't shit. That's what you're saying.
Well, that's what women are saying, these men ain't shit, right?
So basically, so what you're saying is he wasn't shit.
Right.
And then your friend is saying that, yeah, you're right, he ain't shit.
But she's not going to go look at much time.
Yeah, some of them would say he ain't shit for you, but that doesn't mean he ain't shit for me, right? So what happened is now, you're saying that to her, but if she's a person that look at things on both sides, she's gonna say, if he ain't shit and you were with him, then what does that make you? And you see,
why were you with him?
They don't realize that sometimes when you're saying that things, they're making themselves look even more worse than obviously. Most of these women, that we agree with them and won't even go there, but some of them actually do think it. Because you said, if the guy was cheating on you for so many years, then why would you stick around with it? Then what does that say about you? Right? So you have to be careful of what you're telling people, because people will turn it back and use it right on you. Because when you're saying he wasn't shit and he did me this and he left me and he blah, 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 you know, some people start looking at it as, well, if he was doing that to you all those years and you stood in it, then what does that make you? Then that makes either you're insecure, you know, I mean, there's something about you that you ain't right about, because anybody who's grounded and know what they're looking for wouldn't stay that long. You understand what I mean? Yes, exactly. So at the end of the day, right, when you go out there and you're blaming and you're putting that on everybody, sometimes people can see the ugliness of you, right? Because sometimes the anger and the frustration, you look at some of these people and they go out and they say, and we see on some of these, you know, women about in past relationship, and they just get that look and they just turn on a completely different look that you could put a ton of makeup on that face, it won't change the look, right? Because it's just the negative energy.
You're carrying it everywhere.
And people are being told to blame the other party. And then when you're being told to blame the other party, then they're saying, oh, you must say that you're strong and you're empowered. How the freak are you going to be strong and empowered when you're blaming somebody else? That's what weakness is.
Blaming is not strength.
Blaming is not strength. Yes. You know what I mean? And if you think that you come off as empowered, you come off as weak and empowered.
Because it's like I couldn't do anything about my situation. I could just put it all on the other person, right? And it takes two again.
Yeah, because when you're taking the camera and you shifting it on the person that you think is the problem, then what does that make you? That make you somebody here who you were just in the relationship. You were just existing. You didn't do anything. You step on eggshells. You didn't do anything. You just appeared. And we know in a relationship, ghosts and people can't be in a relationship because one is not physically there, right? So stop acting like you were invisibly in a relationship. You affect shit in that relationship. And because you affected shit, you got shit.
And you're now, part of it,
and now you're in a shitty world, right? So at the end of the day, the point is this. You can blame all you want, but the only time that people that in your life or will come into your life are people that are a complete example and a complete definition of who you are or where you're at in your life. If you're at a good place and you're just deeply a good person all around, the people that are coming around, or the guys that are coming around, are not going to be the guys who are going to beat you and cheat on you. They're going to be the guys of a reflection of who you are right now. You're a person that's grounded. You're easy about life. You're not angry and fighting. You're not judging. You're just grounded and stable. The people are going to come around are the people in the same place where you are. Just to give you a quick example. You have a guy who's a quick example. That's what I said. You have a guy who's been a gangster all his life. You know, beat up and fights and all that, been in and out of jail. One time went to jail, he decided, you know what? After I come out, man, I'm done with this. And when he came out of jail, he went to church and he became a Christian. And when he sees gangster buddy, they come around and he started telling about God. They don't want to hear that. So you know what's going to happen? They're not going to hang around with him anymore. He's a Christian now. He's not part of us anymore, right? So when you change the people that come around you. So now that guy, instead of attracting gangster friend, he's going to attract Christians who are at the same place where he's at. So when the women are acting dirty and foul, you know what I mean? What do you think is going to happen to the guys that come around? They're going to be the same thing. It's vice versa. So yeah, he's going to attract her. She's going to attract him because you only attract each other because of where you both are. And if you're on the same place, You could not be the guy that you normally go out and date. She could be not even the girl that you normally go out and date. But because you guys are at the same place, that attraction is bound to happen, and you're going to meet who you really are. Everybody who you date is a reflection of you. It's nothing else than that.
Yeah.
They're not over here and you over here.
Yeah.
Because if they're over here, you over here, you're not going to meet together.
Absolutely.
When you're in the same place, click, it connect, and no matter how the relationship plays out, it's going to be what it is.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So back to the basic question, and we're gonna wrap it up. Is pretty much, where does a woman's right and a man's right begin and end, right? And I think really the answer to that, obviously, is extremely vague, but it really is about everybody taking responsibility, nobody blaming the other person, because you are at least 50% of that relationship. And the sooner we come to realize that it's just a matter of that we're entangling ourselves with people who are where we are at. And the sooner we realize that we can take responsibility, and then we can say, how can I look at myself and work on changing me so that I'm attracting a different caliber of person, right? Yeah. And I mean, Bobby, has flaws, no doubt, right? Of course, I need to accentuate that. But, as I started to see the flaws,
come on.
But as I started to see the flaws in him, and time went on, and he would now and then drop a little something about me, and I want to talk my way out of it. But I realized, Joy, what does that tell you? That you are at that place, that I started to see that in myself. I pointed out to him, but I am there. And so now sometimes when he says things, my immediate thing is I want to defend it. But then you know what I do now? I don't. And the reason why, the automatic thought is I start to want to, but then I say, you know what, well, you really need to take this opportunity to look inside yourself and start to change things, because the best example you can set is, and some women will say, well, you have to date a man, not a boy. But at the same time, I have to look and see what am I doing and where are we at? Because if we want to grow as people, I've already invested 14 years. I don't want to give that up. And if he was doing things like deal breaker, like cheating and beating, there's nothing more to discuss. And it would, again, have to make me look at myself. Why would I be accepting that? But we don't face that. But whatever issues we face, I have to look at myself, because ultimately I'm sharing my life with someone because I want to grow with them. I don't want to go on and meet somebody else and start all over again, because that's not fun either.
Yeah,
right?
Let me tell you something, and like I said, for all the men out there still, like I said, you don't get off the hook either, because you're contributing in it. Because when you're a man and you're a yes sir and you're not strong enough, women don't respect a man that doesn't stand up. And if you're a passive man, women nowadays is gonna run right over you like a bulldozer, and they won't even think twice. You know what I mean? You have to take responsibilities and take time and look at yourself. Don't let society tell you what to do. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, if you're gonna be with somebody, make a decision. If she's gonna be a piece of ass on the side, or she's gonna be the girl that you want to with. Whichever way you go, stand on that, man. Don't break it. Don't even switch it. If she can't accept certain things, you have to realize it's going to work or not. But at the end of the day, you can't be on the other side blaming too and say women are problem, because we all have issues, man, and everybody played their role in all of this, right? And once you realize that, you're bullshitting yourself and you're thinking that you're all right, and you realize that there's problems with you, the best way to do is just look at your past relationships, man. And every relationship that you have, there's always like breadcrumbs that lead you to what your problem is. Because every one of the women that you dealt with in the past is going to tell you, say something, and if you're paying attention, you're going to hear, she said that before, and she said that before. That really is your clue to realize that you need to change you. Because like I said, the biggest problem is people are trying to change grown adults, right? You come in a relationship with somebody who's been an adult all their life, and now you think you're going to change them. Good luck, because I hear people say, I changed him or I changed her. You didn't. They were just out there at the moment. They were looking for a gateway, and you provide that gateway so for them to change, right? But like I said, a crackhead is not going to change because you tell him to change. You know what I mean? A crackhead is going to change when a crackhead decides to change, right? And some of them actually, even though they're influenced by a chemical, they make that decision, right? So at the end of the day is this. Don't try to change nobody, because that's not your job. That's a losing battle. And a lot of people end up hating people and become bitter with people because they want them to change, and when they don't change, they hate them and they become bitter, right? It's not your job to change anybody. The only person you can change yourself. You can't even change your own damn kids. If you can't even change your own kids, how the hell are you going to change a grown people? If you can't do that, right? Because they're their own person too. And like I said, if I have been an asshole all my life and you come into my life and try to not make me become an asshole, you're going to get disappointed. Unless I'm there like, I don't want to be it anymore, you're going to get disappointed because you're going to get, the asshole thing is going to get chumped up another level now, because you're telling me not to be an asshole. Who are you to tell me that, right? And then now I'm going to have to prove to you that you can't tell me that and become an even bigger asshole of the year. and then you decide if you want to stick with it or not.
Right.
So don't try to change people. That's always the wrong idea, the wrong concept. The only way you can change is when you change you, then people will come around to reach you at that level that where you're at. But if you're still playing at the low level, the people that you come around, the men that come around, the woman that you come around are going to be on a low level, and you're going to be pissed off because you don't like seeing yourself because they're showing you yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So very well said. Yeah, and then so that's really what we really, we haven't been online for a while, and we really just wanted to come in and really hanging out, learning from each other, so we can come and share with you guys. Well, that too, yeah. So we go through. Obviously, we're far from perfect, right? And we never want to come on here and make it appear that we are, because we're definitely not. But we're learning, and as we learn and grow, that's what we want to come and share and show people, how to build, happier, healthier relationships. And that takes, ups and downs, but it takes sticking with it. Because if you do all of this and you work on all of this and then you end it, then you're moving on to another person only to discover their flaws and do the same thing over and over again. So just remember that if you want love and relationships are built over time, right? And commitment and energy. And when you love someone, and this is, I think, when you know you love someone, when you want to stick it out with them. If you're willing to get up and run all the time, and society is dictating, get up and run, get up and run, get up and run. But sometimes when I go into groups, I have to press delete, delete, delete. I'm like, Bobby isn't perfect, and say delete, delete, delete. Because nobody else I'm going to pick up is going to be perfect anyway, right? And I'm not. And then they may start to see things in me they don't want to see, and they may say, I'm not going to deal with this, girl. But when you find someone who you love and you truly connect with, and I feel that I found that person in my life, then where are you going? So as much as, the arguments come and the, disagreements come, we know that we want to be together. And that's the underlying thing for us always, is that at the end of an argument, we know we love each other and we want to stay together. And for that reason, we put in the time, we put in the energy, and we put in the effort. We have discussions and we're like, okay, how can we change this? I know that your intention is not that. This is you. Your issues are you. My issues are me, but we're intertwined here together. Why? And how can we work through this? Right, folks? So we're going to continue to come and every now and then show up and really, do some education and show people that, like, what our trials and tribulations are and what's going on in society and how we can really help to see people build, like I said, happier and healthier relationships. Because I feel like we need to see more of that, because I feel like there's more single people out there than there are people in relationships. And if we want to see that again, with so many people wanting a relationship, we want to be here to help, to support, educate, and do anything we can to see that happen, right? So folks, we want to thank you so much for giving you or for giving us your time today. And we plan to be back soon with a little bit more. And if there's anything that you'd love for us to talk about, we'd be more than happy to do so. Right, Bobby? All right, folks, so thank you so much for your time today, and thank you for joining us for the Relationship Builders Customize Your Love Life series, and we'll see you again soon.